All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started here. For those that aren't here, Fernando, I'm recording this. So what I'll do is I will upload it to our YouTube channel, and then I will make it a private link so that, and then I'll email it out to everybody. And so those of you, if you're taking any notes or anything as well, you'll be able to go back and reference this video if you need. Yeah, my name is Peter Gustin. I am one of the lead recruiting coordinators and part owner of My Recruiting Assistant. Few years back, probably 2016, I met Fernando working Kentucky camps. And so that's kind of how we got reconnected here with Evansville United. Last year was our first year working with the club. And what we're looking to do this year is get everyone on board. We had some great successes last year and a lot of kids that started the process. And so, yeah, really excited to see how many participants we have here tonight. Certainly, what my job is in a nutshell, and the shorthand version here is, as our name states, is to be your assistant in the recruiting process. And that is everything A to Z, from helping with emails, helping with education about the process, helping with filming, getting in contact with coaches, which coaches you should be getting in touch with, prepping your daughters for phone calls with coaches, prepping your families for college visits. I mean, that's just kind of the beginning of it. So what we do is we work one-on-one with families, and what we do, again, kind of the shorthand version here, is we take your piece of the puzzle, and that means not just the volleyball aspect. It's what your daughter needs, athletically, academically, socially, culturally, financially, as a family. We take all those aspects, and that is your piece of the puzzle. And then we take what all we do all day is we talk to our families and we talk to college coaches. And so everything is relationship based. And so we learn a lot about what they need. And that means not just their class needs, but what they're looking for specifically within each of those positions, or sort of the requirements they're looking for in athletes to compete at their school. So we help you guys take your piece and pieces that we know from the college side of things, and we try to help you guys find those matches where we're going to check as many boxes as possible for your daughters to have the greatest opportunities for success at the next level. So what I will do here is I'm going to share my screen, and we'll do a little presentation here. Most of you, it looks like, have gotten started with the email that I sent out. That's going to cover a lot of things that will save us a lot of time tonight. So by any means, any questions that you guys have on anything that I emailed or anything tonight, reach out at any time. You've got my cell phone and my email now. And again, that's what I'm here for. So don't hesitate. Don't feel like you're bugging me. I am here to guide your families. So let me share my screen here. All right. Fernando, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see my screen here? Awesome. Okay. All right. So up here, you can kind of see some of our commitments from the club already, from the 2022 class, and also from the 2023 class. So this is a fun little commitment graphic you guys get, when you're committed and ready to go to school. So a little bit about me. I grew up on the south side. I shouldn't say south side, south suburbs of Chicago. And so I was fortunate to grow up playing volleyball. Men's volleyball in Illinois is a pretty big thing. So this had to make a little decision. I had nobody guiding me in the recruiting process when I was your daughter's ages, and I really wish that I did. However, I made a choice that I wanted to go on to be a teacher and a high school coach. And so I turned down some offers I had to smaller schools and decided I was just going to focus on education and play club ball at Iowa. So I went to the University of Iowa and still reside about 10 minutes outside of there with my wife and our daughter, Emerson. I was a teacher, high school for 5 years and middle school for 2 years. So the teaching background, has prepped me really well for working with young athletes and their families. It's always great to have a great educational background when we're thinking about the full picture of what we're doing here, and not just trying to find a scholarship for your daughter, but also find that academic match. So I'm also a former high school and club coach. I coached at the University of Iowa from 2016 to 2019. So I have been involved in all aspects of recruiting for a long time now, and this is now my full-time job. So working full-time in recruiting. I've been with MRA for 2.5 years now, and I've already helped place over 120 athletes in that time. And one question that typically comes up early on in conversations is, are we just a D1 thing? Do we only work with Division I schools? We actually have almost an identical 20% split across the board between Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and junior college. So we work with coaches at all levels. We have great relationships with all staffs. If there's ever a staff that your daughter is wanting to get in touch with, and we for some reason don't have a relationship with them yet, we'll start that relationship. So the rest of our team, you guys won't necessarily see them or communicate with them much, but Jess Enderly, she is the recruiting coordinator at Alliance in Nashville, and she's also the head coach at Fisk University, which is an NAIA program in the Nashville area. Michaela Fecky is a name that a lot of your daughters probably know. She's from here in Iowa. She actually did her recruiting process with my recruiting assistant back when she was in high school. So she played at Nebraska, 2-time national champion, national player of the year, and went on to play professionally in Italy, played with Team USA. Elena is our newest recruiting coordinator. She just got done coaching for 10 years at Northwest Missouri State, which is a really, really strong Division II program. And Carly also just joined the team a little bit before Elena. Carly was a Division I libero at Michigan State. In fact, she was a top 5 prospect at the libero position coming out of high school. So she dealt with like those intense pressures that not everyone deals with, but when it does come down to deciding and splitting hairs between a few schools, she's got a lot of great advice that she posts on our social media pages. And she's also involved with coaching some club ball in Illinois. And so we're really excited to have them. And anytime they talk to a coach, just like I do, and they say, oh, hey, we talked to so-and-so today, this is what they're looking for, and this is what they need out of that position. Then I say, oh, hey, so-and-so from Evansville United would be fantastic. Here's what she's looking for, and here's video for her. And so even though you guys may not see them, you've got a whole team working behind you, which is great. Looks like a lot of our video screens are off, but we'll skip the thumbs up portion. But really, this is just kind of some food for thought type of a thing. But have you had a conversation about recruiting as a family? This is something that some of you may have done by now, and it may be just starting for you guys. And on a surface level, yes, that means, the question of, hey, do you want to continue playing in college or not? But that is just the tip of the iceberg out of the water there. So some things that you guys as a family should begin to think about if your daughter is really wanting to play in college. Obviously, academic interests. Now, keeping in mind, your daughter does not need to know exactly what she wants to study in college. In fact, it may change quite a few times before she even gets there or when she gets to school. But academic interests as a family, and typically these are conversations that are more between the parents and I, as the girls aren't typically the ones, fronting the finances for the families, but finances and scholarships, and not only understanding what scholarship opportunities are available at each playing level, but for some families, it's more of a luxury to have scholarship, and for some families, it's an absolute necessity. So that's going to be different for each individual family. And so again, those will be individual conversations that we have together rather than something over a Zoom like this with everyone. Some other factors: distance from home that your daughter's willing to go for school, or thinking geographically or regionally within the country. What playing levels they're open to exploring, school size, location, etc. So you can see that just that, again, that concept of do you want to play in college is really just the start of things. We'll jump briefly here into some basic information about scholarships and the differences between the divisions. Again, happy to go over these far more in depth with you guys when we start to have our one-on-ones. But The three main divisions or playing levels that people know are NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3. But we also have junior college, which goes by NJCAA. And then we also have the NAIA division. So we'll start at the top with Division 1. Fully funded schools at the Division 1 level have up to 12 scholarships. So if they're not a fully funded program, then they may have as few as, I'm trying to think, what does the SAI have at Iona? Did you say 4, Fernando? Yeah, only 4 scholarships at Iona. So most schools are fully funded at the Division 1 level. However, it's just, something to be aware of, that those schools do exist. Division 1 volleyball is a head count sport. So what that means is if Fernando at UE is going to offer an athlete, 4 years of scholarship or 3 years or 2 years, that is covering everything. Whereas at the Division 2 level, athletic scholarships are in what's called an equivalency sport. So the difference there is they have, X number of dollars, and those coaches can divide it up amongst the players any way they can. They can overload a few players. They can make sure that everybody gets a little bit. That'll depend program to program, but that's kind of the main difference between athletic scholarships. The second one between Division 1 and Division 2 is that Division 2 schools only have up to 8 athletic scholarships. So you go from 12 to 8. Now, the cool thing about Division 2 is that you can also get academic scholarships. So you can kind of think of Division 2 as more of like a package deal. And so we actually have, for instance, an athlete going to the school that Elena coached at next year, and she is paying, I think it's $25. Scored really well on her tests, had a really strong transcript, and as a setter that they want to come in and play right away, she was given a lot of the the athletic money. So at the Division 2 level, that package deal can get you a lot of money. And again, for the girls that are on here, it's just why, taking every opportunity when teachers offer, extra time to come in and work on things when you might be struggling, that's going to make a lot of the difference. And most colleges have actually, since COVID hit, they have gone to the, the test optional route. And so we actually have a lot of girls right now who may be really strong students, but aren't the strongest standardized test takers. So they're actually getting more money by the strength of their transcript and their grades compared to turning in their test scores. So just definitely something to be aware of, that most schools are test optional now. And then we drop down to Division 3, and the least fun fact to hear is that there are no athletic scholarships at the Division 3 level. It is all academic and it is all merit-based. And so, basically what you can do is go onto those schools' websites, and they'll usually have a chart or some kind of what do they call it? Like the financial calculator. You can put in your GPA and your test scores and things like that. And it'll basically say, okay, you're going to, likely receive this amount of money. And so, typically Division 3 can be a bit more of an expensive route. But that being said, not every Division 3 school is going to cost you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. There are other options. And so, yeah, never say no to a school until you know what it's going to cost you. You just, especially at the Division 3 level, we've learned that we can barter with them a little bit, unlike you can at the Division 1 and Division 2 levels. And so we've been really successful at, and really just intrigued by the number of ways that coaches at that level can come up with some extra money for families. So definitely don't rule those things out. The last thing I'll cover there between Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 is Division 1's a grind. From the moment you wake up in the morning till you go to bed, it's a grind. You're up in the weight room, up to go to the weight room at 5 a.m. You're eating on the go, going to your classes, trying to fit in homework between classes. Then you're going to practice. You've probably got film sessions, team dinner. It's an all day, all night thing. Volleyball is essentially almost your job, and schools kind of fit around it. And so it's a really intense schedule, and is for those of you who just live, eat, breathe, and sleep volleyball. Division two, their motto is actually life in the balance. So Division two athletics were created so that student athletes would have a better life balance. And then Division three is going to be, even more of a balance between academics and social life and volleyball, with a heavy emphasis on the academics. So there are Division one athletes who choose to go Division three because they are looking for some of the highest academic schools, and they don't want volleyball to run their life, even though they could compete at that level. And so, again, these are all conversations we'll have, together with your family and finding out what's best for your daughter and what she's really interested in. But that's just a little general overview on the NCAA divisions. Now, the other two are NAIA and JUCO. NAIA is obviously a separate division, and they're just smaller colleges. A lot of them are private. A lot of them have religious ties to them. The cool thing about NAIA is we kind of call them the cool kids with no rules. Whereas you have all these restrictions at the Division two and Division one levels of volleyball. Like Fernando can't be out on the road recruiting right now. Melissa cannot be out on the road recruiting right now until February 18th. So lots of things all year round like that. Lots of stipulations. They have to watch everything they do, every dollar they spend, the do's and don'ts. NAI doesn't exactly have all that. And why I call them the cool kids with no rules, they're also the cool kids that get a lot of money. NAI programs have exceptional amounts of scholarship money for athletes. And so we've seen this strength of the NAIA playing level actually jump up very similar to Division two. As a whole, probably fits right in between Division two and Division three. I apologize if you hear my daughter screaming upstairs. She's not happy for bedtime. But NAI is a fantastic option. Anytime we have athletes looking at the Division two level, we always have them looking at the NAI programs as well. And then the last would be junior college. So junior college, great for so many reasons, especially right now with COVID, with athletes all getting their fifth year of eligibility, essentially. There have been a lot of roster spots that have been taken up by that, or scholarship dollars. So if your daughter is someone who has no idea what she wants to study, or she's not quite finding the offer she's looking for, a JUCO program is an exceptional idea. Or if the scholarships you're looking at aren't strong enough, go to junior college and try to get a lot of that covered, get your gen eds out of the way. And then, we can again help you later transfer to a 4-year program. So, the last little bit about junior colleges that I should say is you do want to understand that there are 3 levels of junior college ball: Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3, just like the NCAA. The Division 1 level programs can pay for essentially that full ride. They can cover everything for you. At the Division 2 programs, they can cover everything except for housing. And the Division 3 junior college programs, they actually can't cover anything. So big difference there. You always want to know which one when you're talking to a junior college or looking them up. Again, you want to know if they're Division 1, 2, or 3, and what that means for you, especially financially. So recruiting rules, we're not going to go into too much tonight. The one I'm going to say is those of you who are interested in playing Division 1 volleyball, again, those coaches, it is a quiet period. So while Fernando and Melissa can be talking to athletes, and they can have some athletes on campus, they cannot be out recruiting right now. So you will not see any Division 1 coaches in a gym until I think it's President's Day weekend, so February 18th. But you can still be contacting them, emailing, texting. The only other rule is that for those of you who are class of 2024 or younger, you guys are not able to talk with Division 1 and Division 2 coaches until June 15th after your sophomore year. So while you need to be very active in the process by emailing them, not constantly in terms of like every day or even every week, but you will need to be emailing coaches and staying in touch with them, even though they can't respond to you with much more than camp dates, a questionnaire to fill out, or a general line of interest that says that they're interested. So we'll break that down a little bit more here later. Some video suggestions. Okay, take your own video. Do not depend on Baller TV. If you guys as parents are communicating and you know who's going to be uploading film and you know that you have a general location where all that film is going to be dumped, that's perfect. But don't depend on Baller TV. The quality is oftentimes not great. And as far as we know, Fernando, let me know if you heard anything different, but the girls will not be switching sides of the court again this year. So if you are the team on the far side of the net, coaches don't want to really watch that film. So I did put this photo down here. I think I also put this in the email. So I apologize if I did. But this is where we want you filming from, and not every convention center or smaller playing area is going to allow for this footage. But just make sure you're taking your footage from the end line. If you have to go to a corner of the court, do not pick the corner with the line judge in front of you. But yeah, this is wide enough here, deep enough back where we can see hitters transitioning. We can watch all the blockers, defensive movements, serve, receive. So this is the angle that coaches want. You are granted one free highlight video from us through the contract with Evansville United. But if you choose to make your own down the line, typically no longer than 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, and use 2 to 3 matches. Don't be, if you're doing serve receive, don't put your 10 best clips from your 10 best matches, because the coach is going to sit there and go, okay, I just saw your best 10 passes, but where's the consistency? Can you do this back to back? Can you do this more than 3 times in a match? They don't know. And so especially with things like serve receive, you really want to show consistency. So try to make those highlight films over 2 to 3 matches tops. Again, if you can, store all your videos in one location and share that with me. YouTube is one of the best. Dropbox, Google Drive, all those things are really great. And I can always help families. If you need a little help, I can always help you guys with navigating those resources. Now there's the baby again. Okay, emailing basics. What must you include in your email? Your name, your grad year, position, applicable measurements. Obviously, if you're a DS libero, you are not going to be putting in your approach and block touch. But anyone who's playing in the front row, those are great things to put in your email. Your grade point average and your academic interests, if you have them. You should never send an email without a video link. Even if you say that you are 6'4" middle blocker and you can touch 10 foot, a coach without video doesn't know if you're going to be a future All-American or if you're going to look like one of those like inflatable wavy things outside of the cell phone stores. So make sure you always have a video link attached. Athletic achievements, if you just want a state title or this or that, voted first, second team all state, all conference, great little achievements to put in. Always give them a little bit about why you're emailing. I'll go into this a little bit more in just a bit. But really it's just, a sentence or two that just says, hey, I'm really interested in your school for, this reason and this reason. Separate yourself with just one line from everyone else who's just, emailing and saying, hey, look at my video. So we'll have lots of templates and things like that that the girls will be able to use for emailing to help them. Some important reminders, always email coaches individually. If you're emailing Fernando, he doesn't want to see that you're also emailing Illinois State and Bradley and Valpo, and that's not going to make him want you. Make sure you are emailing the recruiting coordinator at each program. I can always help you find that if you don't know how to do so. But not every head coach is doing the recruiting. So it typically, for most places, will start with the recruiting coordinator, which is just one of the assistants. And then it works its way up to the college coaches or the head coaches. So those are kind of the email basics there. Things that I can help you with this year. And of course, it's not limited to this, but I was trying not to make the page too full here. But educating you guys, advising you through the recruiting process in all aspects. And what that includes is very realistic and honest feedback. So when I watch your video and, if you're a 5'8" outside hitter touching 9'6", and you've got Stanford on your list, I'm going to be very honest with you and let you know that that's probably not where you're going to end up. And that is not to hurt anyone's feelings. I've been doing this for a long time. We know we have relationships with these coaches and we know what they're looking for. And so we want to be guiding you and helping you towards an end goal, not sending you off on wild goose chases to, looking for programs where it's going to be an incredible long shot, for you to be chosen there. So it's not that you cannot have reach schools, but like I said, we'll just be very honest with you and kind of give you an expectation there. And a lot of conversations will play into that. Like, is it enough for you to just be at that school? What if you put the thought process in your head, like, what if I never get on the court at a school like that? Is that still where I want to be? Is that what I want out of my playing experience and my college experience? So those are the conversations that we'll have together that'll help us shape that target list of schools for your daughter. We will assist you in creating emails, whether it's the first time you're emailing a coach, whether it's emailing them before a tournament with your playing schedule, whether it's just a life update. All right, we got about 10 minutes left here before we get kicked off. So anything like that. So the girls will have templates and it'll be really easy for them to just kind of plug their information in rather than just staring at a blank screen like, what do I write a college coach? So we'll help you guys with that. Establishing a target list. We want a well-rounded selection. We want you looking at multiple divisions, and we want you looking at some schools that are a little outside your comfort zone. So, whether that's distance, for example, if you're thinking, hey, I want to be within 5 hours of home, you just never know when that dream school of yours is 5.5, 6.5 hours away. So whether it's location or school size, looking at something a little smaller or larger than you want. We always want you to have some of those on your list as well. Just any general recruiting questions that you have, whether it's just about the process, anything A to Z there, I'm here to help answer for you. Promotion on social media, coverage at tournaments when we're there, preparation for phone calls and college visits. So we'll make sure you guys are well prepared. One of the best things that college coaches give us kudos for is that our kids are always so well prepared for their phone calls. And so when the time comes for that, we can do mock phone calls. We'll go over question sets that coaches might ask you and that you should ask them. We'll be at some of your tournaments, and when we're there, like I said, we'll be doing social media clips. That's a great way for coaches who are at those tournaments that all follow our social media to be able to say, they typically see a clip, they ask us, hey, who is that? And if they're at that tournament, they'll typically say, where can I catch her tomorrow? What court? So we'll do social media. We'll put your highlight videos that we make up. And yeah, that's just the start of things, but just to give you a general sort of outline. Okay, a couple of important notes. We cannot guarantee placement into a college program. With that being said, every athlete that we've worked with who either wanted to go on to play volleyball or volleyball and another sport, we have placed in college. The only athletes that we haven't are typically girls who choose another sport, or they're girls who decide they don't want to play anymore. Yes, believe it or not, some people get burnt out on the sports they play. So there is a home for everybody. I really mean that. Sometimes it takes being a little open-minded though, and really investigating some options that you didn't think you might like. But you'll just be so surprised at the places you learn that exist and that you see yourself succeeding at. Athletes need to make the initial contact with coaches. We will help with that, but this is an athlete-driven process. If I am, so one of our setters is going to Fernando's program next year, and as much as he would love to talk to me about her, it does nothing if she's not the one showing the interest and reaching out to him and wanting to be a part of his program and taking the lead on that. So, we provide you the roadmap of everything here, but your daughters need to be the ones who drive the bus on that. So player and parent expectations. Athletes, it's an athlete-driven process. Like I said, the coaches want to hear from you. Consistency with communication. You may be contacting me as often as you need. Some girls, it's every few days that they might have a question about something. That's totally okay. Sometimes we, give the material or tasks to girls and they're like off and running. And like, it's almost like we have to check in with them in a couple weeks because we're like, hey, we haven't heard from you. How is it? It's just going to be different for everyone. And the last thing is resiliency through this process. Talk to some of the girls at your club who are committed. It's a roller coaster, and the athlete's recruiting journey has far more lows than highs. Kaylee even did a video for us that I posted on our social media. And we just kind of started it with her commitment graphic and talked about like, oh, how great it looks, and it must have been so easy for her, being 6'1" and blah blah blah. But what you don't see are the schools who said no. You don't see the schools who said, yeah, it's looking good. Oh, now we don't need an outside hitter anymore. So you just don't see any of that when you see an athlete commit. So remember that it takes resiliency, and for sometimes that's it hurts a lot to be told no by a school we really love. But in the end, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be, and it's going to be a really great thing for you. And you just got to stick with it. And we're here to help you guys through all those ups and all those downs. Parents, unfortunately, coaches don't want to hear from you, not right away, at least. There will be time and a place for you guys to jump on Zooms and FaceTime calls with these coaches and really get to know them yourselves and them to get to know you. But it is always going to start with the athletes. So on top of that, coaches watch you very closely at tournaments. Some people believe us when we say that and some don't, but you would be blown away at how many coaches tell us no to a kid because of their parents. And so just be very mindful of what you're saying and how you're acting at tournaments. Enjoy the process and watching your daughters grow on and off the court. Sometimes it's hard to let go and let them take the lead on things and maybe even watch them struggle through a task a little bit, but I'm here to guide them through that. And you guys will be a part of a lot of our conversations and all of that. So but when they're making calls, don't try and jump in and answer something for them with a coach. The coaches they want to hear from the girls, and they want to see how they work through questions they don't know or things like that. So don't take the lead. There's a time and a place, and again, just really enjoy watching them kind of blossom through this process. Again, the recruiting journey, resiliency. Your journey is going to be different from your peers. No recruiting journey is alike. And when you start comparing, comparison is the thief of joy. And when you see your friends committing or teammates or other girls, again, you don't see the downs that they went through in the process. So again, focus on your journey and what it takes for you to get to your end result or your end goal. Oops. My contact information, you guys all have that. The girls that are on here, or when you guys watch the video, I would love it if you would text me at this number here with your name, your position, and your grad year, so that I have your phone number for when we're constantly contacting each other. And also would love to set up calls with you guys so we can get started. So you can do that right now, right when we finish, or tomorrow, whenever is best for you guys. I am on the road this weekend, but yeah, as soon as next week, I'd love to start meeting more of your families and getting to know you guys and starting this process with you. So the last little bit now, okay? So what should you get started on? First is updating your university athlete account. I talked about that in the email that I sent. So please, please, please make that one of your highest priorities. You guys are going to be getting an email from us. A lot of times it goes to your spam folder. We don't know why with this one, with joining our system, it does that. But you're going to get a contract from info@myrecruitingassistant.com, and that is for NCAA compliance purposes. So there's no ties. You guys don't owe any money. It's all covered through the club. So sign that contract. And when you do that, you're going to get an email for how to join our system, which is Quoach. I'll be sending a video out about that to show you guys how awesome that is and how it's going to help you be self-paced, help you know where resources are, how to use those resources, education on everything about the process. It's really great. We're so excited to launch that this year. So I'll send a second email out about that next week. Have those conversations with your families. Create a target list of schools. I will look that over for you when it's ready. And again, I will evaluate your film and let you know if those schools are realistic, if some of them are reach schools. I'll be very honest about that. Start tracking down your video. I talked about that in the email, but you need highlights and you need unedited game film. So keep a little notebook or keep a little note in your phone and keep track of great matches that you played, because you're going to want to find them quickly when coaches request that. So once you're in quotes, you'll start writing your initial email. Some of you did that last year. Follow us on social media. I put those links again in the email that I sent out. And by all means, again, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what I'm here for. I apologize. This is running just perfectly at that 40-minute limit we get. So if we get cut off here, I do want to thank you all for being here tonight. I'll get this uploaded, Fernando, and sent out to all the families and everyone who were here and not here. Yeah, I'm so excited to be working with you all again this year, and excited to see you all on the road and meet you. It's the relationships part of this is the best part of our job. So really